morning. Today we have the pleasure of introducing Cannindah Resources with ticker code CAE, Charlie Alpha Echo, an ASX-listed exploration and resource development company based in Queensland with a focus on copper and gold projects. Here to discuss the recent developments is Tom Pickett, the Managing Director of Cannindah Resources. He's also going to share some insights on their exciting progress at their flagship Mt Cannindah Project and other initiatives following a very successful capital raise of $5 million. So please, welcome, Tom. How are you?
I'm great. Thanks, Gia. Thanks for having me.
Excellent. Before we begin, I know you are based in the Gold Coast. Is that correct?
That's right. That's where our office is based. Our assets are obviously further north than that, but yes, our office is on the Gold Coast.
Excellent. I'm a little bit jealous, but let's start.
Don't be, it's
So
raining
look,
today, so don't worry about that.
okay, fantastic. Well, look, Cannindah Resources is focusing on copper and gold exploration. Can you explain how the company's structure and goals fit the growing demand for critical metals?
Yeah, look, it's definitely the case that you've identified copper and gold as the space to be at the moment. Copper, particularly in terms of the green energy transition, I think is still yet to find its feet. There's a lot of excellent fundamentals that are ongoing for copper. I think it's probably taken a little bit more time than most would have expected to find its feet from a commodity pricing perspective. But
Mhm.
the fundamentals are certainly there with AI data centers, with EVs, and the green energy transition as well, supporting future copper demand, as well as potential stimulus coming into China, etc. So we do think that we're in a good space. Certainly, a lot of the larger companies around the globe are still scouring for the globe for good projects like ours.
Wonderful. Actually, it's the first time you've mentioned AI data centers as a utility for copper. I mean, obviously, EV is something we talk about a lot. Just we could go back to it later, but I just wanted to highlight that actually to our viewers.
Excellent.
Look, the board and your major shareholders play a very big role in the company's progress. I mean, how are they helping you drive the Mount Cannindah project forward?
Yeah, look, we have recently updated our JORC resource. It's up from 5.5 million tonnes to 14.5 million tonnes at 1.09% copper equivalent.
Mhm.
Importantly, 88% of that is within the measured and indicated category. So the board has now, as we've closed out the capital raising that you mentioned earlier, has decided to embark upon or support a new drilling campaign, which
Mm.
is designed to increase that JORC resource position and identify the opportunities that are there within new targets that we've spent a lot of time working on. So yeah, that's the way in which we intend to move forward. We expand that resource area and get into the new targets, which we've got a lot of good information on in terms of IP surveys and geochemical surveys, etc.
Excellent. Look, I can see that your top 20 shareholders own 65% of the shares on issue. I mean, that means it's actually quite a tightly held company at the moment, right?
That's true. We do have some excellent shareholders.
Yep.
We have a large main shareholder. The shareholding structure there is probably around about right in terms of its current position from the recent capital raise. Look, there is obvious support from our long-standing shareholders, and we
Mhm.
work together with our major shareholder as best as we can to ensure that what we do going forward is something that is supported in the long term. So that's our aim. We've got some very good prospects within the Mt Cannindah project that we're aiming to increase in size, and we plan to do that obviously with board support moving forward.
Excellent. Well, look, the resource at Mount Cannindah has grown significantly to 14.5 million tonnes at 1.09 copper equivalent. I mean, I'm very curious here. So what's driven this growth and how does it actually change the project's potential?
Yeah, importantly, that is quite a significant increase from where it started or
Mhm.
what we inherited, which was 5.5 million tonnes. The way in which we did that was effectively drilling the resource area in exactly the opposite direction from where the previous drilling was. headed. So we drilled from the east to the west rather than from the west to the east. And
Mhm.
we managed to get some really interesting intercepts early on, which was excellent for us. And then we expanded upon that, pushing the known resource area along strike, both to the north and to the south, uh,
Mhm.
and and at depth. So our deepest hole was 1,050 meters.
Yep.
And that's finished in mineralisation. And we pushed probably a further 650 metres or thereabouts to the south and opened it up slightly to the north. And in that, we've also identified a possible offset fault to the north, to the northwest. So we've identified some interesting new areas. But the resource expansion itself was as a result of our most recent drilling campaign. We intend to expand upon that with the current one.
Excellent, excellent. Look, there's clearly more potential around Mount Cannindah with exciting prospects like Cannindah East and the Southwest IP anomaly. I mean, what's your strategy for exploring these areas?
Yeah, we ran an IP survey over the main areas of interest, if you like, and that lit up some really good targets. And you mentioned the Southwest IP anomaly. Then we're currently with this first hole, we're looking to expand the known mineralisation within the resource area, and then we'll pivot towards that Southwest IP anomaly and start to test that as the next target, so to speak. Um, Now, that anomaly itself is roughly 2 to 3 times the size of the resource area that we've drilled. Importantly, it's got all the same or similar characteristics to the area that we've already drilled at the resource. So what you want to see is an IP signature that you've got geochemical surveys done over, which gives you another layer of certainty, if you like. And then we've actually drilled that area and come up with an expanded resource. So we know what the signature looks like because
Hmm.
we've made it, if you like, and
Yep.
then we've drilled it, so we know what it is.
Yep.
So what we did is we embarked upon other areas within the project that looked the same, which
Okay.
came up with this Southwest IP anomaly, and we intend to drill that.
Okay. I mean, look, help me understand here. We have this cross section, and obviously, I'm not a geologist, but does this tell us basically, is this somewhat to do with the signature, with all of the markings down here?
Yeah, so that's hole. So that's a very interesting hole. So I think it was 762-meter depth, but
Yep.
493 meters of it was 1.14% copper equivalent. So pink is good in that image to sort of
Yeah.
summarize it for you. So pink is a
Thank
higher
you.
grade of copper. So the upper section of that, the upper interval, if you like,
Hmm.
163 meters at 1.44% copper, and then that
Hmm.
lower section, 148 meters at 1% or thereabouts copper. Very excellent intercepts, but the mineralisation does push further past. Importantly, when you were mentioning the resource before, the resource is constrained to an open pittable resource. So that's just from 0 meters at the surface
Hmm.
down to 350 meters. And the mineralisation does continue past that. So that dotted line there is basically an outline, if you like, down to about, I think, 350 meters. My eyesight's not so good to see the small numbers there, but I'm pretty confident that's the case. And the yeah, so the mineralisation, the higher grade mineralisation, does push past that resource or constrained resource area. So we intend to locate other areas of interest that are very similar to that in other areas of the project, very close to where that resource area is. So that cross section is a really good indicator of the type of grade and the intercepts that we can achieve at Mount Cannindah. That particular hole there was named at the time that it was drilled in the top 10 copper intercepts in the world. I think
Wow.
there was BHP and Cannindah Resources were the only Australians on that top 10 list, which was good.
Hmm.
So yeah, there is some significant mineralisation within the Mt Cannindah project, and we intend to continue that success going forward.
That's exciting. So I just want to repeat, pink is good.
Yeah, I think it's good. In great. Yeah.
And
Pink's
just
actually good in this one too.
yes. And on this heat map here, could you just quickly explain? So are these pink is also good.
Well, what that is the IP chargeability. So that's
Hmm.
an image that sort of depicts the IP survey and the targets that we've delineated with that IP survey. So the area that we've drilled that 14.5 million tonnes in is
Yep.
the area that's referred to there as the Mt Cannindah breccia inside that black outline in the top left, if you like. So that area is where the 14.5 million tonnes is located from surface down to 350 metres. The important part, the southwest anomaly that you referred to earlier, is diagonally to the left and below that area. So that large pink line, that's
This
it
one?
right there. Yep.
Yep.
So that southwest anomaly, as I said, looks a lot larger than the area that we've drilled, but it's got all the same signatures and hallmarks, if you like, of that resource area. So that's why it's become a high priority target for us. And we have had that independently looked at by a porphyry expert, Dr. Alan Wilson. He's had a look at our IP and had a look at and done a site visit, etc. And he also agreed that the target at the southwest anomaly is a high priority target to move to next. So with that resource expansion, we're able to just basically pivot the drill a bit, if you like, and then get into that southwest target. So it's very exciting stuff. Huge
Excellent.
target to hit, and it's never been drilled. So very
Oh,
important.
it's
It's never
never
been
been
drilled
drilled.
before, never been hit by anybody. It's blind to surface, and it just lit up because we did a IP survey that was able to see a little bit deeper than the ones that were available previously.
It's quite remarkable it's never been drilled, right? Because you're thinking with so much mining activity around Australia, it's
That's what
exciting.
everyone says. I tend to agree. I mean, it's nice for us, right? But
Yep.
when you have all of the smoke, if you like, that is within the Mt Cannindah project, it is quite amazing that it hasn't actually been hit. So there has been some attempts to do things in a more shallow capacity than what would have been required to hit it. But no one's actually got into that anomaly as it stands.
Well, we'll talk about drilling later. I want to get back to this, right? So your metallurgical tests show high recoveries and good concentrate grades, even for the lower grade material. I mean, how does this actually boost this project's economic efficiency?
Yeah, well, of course, it's a great question because
Mm,
anytime you're looking at an exploration project, you want to make sure that one day it can be a mine and produce a saleable concentrate. It's
good.
all well and good to have a lot of rocks, but if you can't produce a saleable concentrate, then it's to what end? So
Mm-hmm.
it's important along the way to make sure that you do have the hallmarks of what can be saleable concentrate. We embarked upon that report so that we could have that confidence. It also provided us with a significant amount of confidence in the resource cutoff,
Mm.
showing grades around 0.2
Yeah.
were also able to be produced in saleable concentrate. So that gave us confidence in the resource cutoff grade too.
Excellent. So you're already thinking about commercialization, is that right? I mean, already at this early stage.
Yeah, look, I think you've always got to have in the back of your mind how this might develop out. And
Mm-hmm.
interestingly, we've constrained that resource area to an open pittable resource. From surface down to 350 meters is not if you like, a difficult mine, given that it's from surface and you don't have to remove 400 meters of overburden before you get to the good stuff. So you're always thinking in the back of your mind about how that might play out, but it's important to take the steps along the way to ensure that you're not throwing good money after bad. You want to make sure that you can produce something when you get the significant results that we've been getting.
Tremendous. I mean, look, now being so close to the port of Gladstone and other infrastructure is a huge advantage, and I've seen it across with other mines as well, particularly back in WA, right? I mean, how do you plan to use this to move the project forward efficiently?
Again, it comes back to that mine question. So anytime you're looking at a project, you want to also determine whether or not it's going to be potentially viable. And if you're only
Hmm.
100 km from a port and you've got a haul road going past your mine gate and you're sitting on an existing mining lease,
Yep.
surrounded by EPMs, of course, but all of the hallmarks of what is the makings of a good exploration project are there. So it's incumbent upon us to then turn that exploration activity into really good results and establish scale. Now, the
Mm.
Mt Cannindah project is far bigger than the resource that we've got to date. So we intend to show our shareholders that there's a significant increase in value that's likely to be there into the near future.
Hmm.
So we intend to build that scale, and at some point, this thing will be a mine. So it's always good to have that infrastructure close by, townships close by, water
Okay.
infrastructure close by. So all of those things are a box you needed to tick.
Excellent. So townships close by, transport, and so my other question would be like, so does it have access to any other infrastructure that you think is going to be able to leverage, you'll be able to leverage off?
Yeah, there's potential to tap into, pardon the pun, to a water pipeline if it's needed.
Hmm.
And that is a bonus. It's currently not being utilised, and I've been in conversations with various government departments about the potential for that. That's still something to be discussed, but yeah, there's certainly other aspects that are very interesting to a producing mine. And yeah, watch this space. I think it's important to note that there's a lot of scale, there's a lot of potential. There's certainly already an existing pretty significant resource close to surface. Yeah, as I said, it's ticking all the boxes.
Excellent. Now, look, there's been a lot of M&A activity in the sector recently. Thank goodness it's coming back. I mean, how do you see Canindah's position in this environment? Are you looking to partner or merging part of your strategy?
Look, you're always, when you're a junior explorer, looking at various
Mhm.
options that are available to you in terms of access to things in the future.
Mhm.
Um, we have been quite lucky that we're involved in a commodity like copper and also gold, but
Yep.
those two things have been the flavour of the month in terms of a lot of M&A activity. We probably won't go into what we exactly will be trying to do in the near term in terms of what activity with what company and how. But
Mhm.
there's certainly a lot of companies scouring the globe for projects like us.
Yes.
Our preference would obviously be that one of these big guys needs to take out another company the size of ours. And utilise the access to the copper that will bring them, and that would have a significant impact positively for the shareholders.
Tremendous. And now, look, I've got two more questions left, Tom. My first one is, look, I've tried to do some research on you, and maybe I haven't done hard enough, but I couldn't really quite locate your details on LinkedIn. So could you just share a little bit about your background, I guess your academic pedigree, and some of your work experience with our investors here?
Yeah, well, in terms of pedigree, I would suggest that I've been involved in mining exploration for over a decade. Uh,
Excellent.
I don't have a geological background. My geologists seem to suggest that I know a good rock from a bad one and do have some ability to tell them what to do, which is good. I do have a law degree that I used to use about 2 decades ago, but
Right.
obviously that
Okay.
doesn't assist in geology at the moment. I have been managing director of this company for a while, and I have had various other exploration companies that I've been on the boards of, etc. So over
Mhm.
the past decade and a half, I've been involved in the mining exploration industry and have a
Mm.
lot of contacts within it. So yeah, this project itself it stands out as one that is extremely interesting on so many levels. It is a really big project. It has so many parts to it that are going to provide exploration upside in the near future, which is why I'm very excited we've started to drill it.
Tremendous. I mean, look, you've achieved a lot in the growing resource. I mean, finally, what other big milestones can we expect from you and Cannindah in the near future?
Look, it's not a secret that some very large companies have been looking at us. One of which was Codelco.
Mm.
I won't go into what that has or has not done, as I'm sort of bound not to.
Sure.
But the next milestones for us will be definitely this current drilling campaign, identifying these targets or drilling
Mm.
into these targets that we've identified. That will be a game changer for the company. It's going to add significant tons, in my opinion, to the already existing resource, which is already quite large at 14.5 million tons.
Yep.
So I'm quite excited to bring that 14.5 million tons up closer to about 50 million tons as soon as I possibly
Wow.
can. And those things will go a long way to doing that. If we get the results that we are seeking from those anomalies, then we will definitely have something very exciting for shareholders.
And look, I have been informed that drilling is underway. Am I correct?
You are correct.
Yes. And so I guess without leading you too far into it, I'm curious, when can we expect results?
Yeah, look, I am mindful that we are in the Christmas period, and I've been pushing very, very hard my geological team and the drillers to get up and running prior to going into the Christmas break.
Mm-hmm.
They have been pushed very hard, and they have done very well getting the drill turning. So I would suggest that if we get into the sort of the primary material, that we can hopefully average 20 to 30 metres a day. That's all dependent on weather and other factors, but if we can, that will be great. So I would expect to potentially have something to say before the Christmas break, potentially if we see some great visuals, but if not, then it'll be straight after Christmas.
Tremendous. I'm very excited. So that's all. We're going to wrap up today's interview. As you can see, I'm really excited by the growth of Cannindah Resources as we move into 2025. With expansion of your copper tons, you want to go from, what was it? How
Ideally
many?
from 14.5 million to about 50 million tonnes, and
To
keeping
50
that grade,
million.
if
Let's
we
just
can,
3x
keeping that
it.
grade, that's why
You're
not?
very conservative, Tom.
Well, that's without taking into consideration the possibility of it being fed by a very large porphyry system at depth. So there are some very significant potential upsides that are yet to be seen with this project, and we do intend to exploit them as we keep going.
Tremendous. Well, look, if you have any questions, particularly to our investors and our member base, or you need further information, please don't hesitate. Reach out to us at info@eastcoastresearch.com.au or info@sharesandvalue.com.au, and we'll certainly send the questions over through to Tom, who I'm assuming will be happy to field them.
Absolutely.
And thank you so much for joining us today. And more importantly, I'm really looking forward to getting these drilling results either this side of Christmas or early next year. Am I right, Tom?
Yeah, I'll get them out as quick as I possibly can, I promise you, because I'm just as excited as you are. Perhaps more, I think.
Excellent. Thank you so much, Tom. Have a lovely day ahead.
Thank you, Gia. You too.